No, let's start.
So thank you. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and namaskar. I'm Rajiv and your host or master of ceremonies for today's event. It gives me immense honor and pleasure to host this event today related to taxation on behalf of our organization, NCAIA. NCIA, or National Council of Asian Indian Associations, is an umbrella organization for many Indian communities and organization to mutually support and strengthen our fellow brothers and sisters in the United States. This talk on taxation would last approximately 40 minutes, followed by a question and answer session. Audience are encouraged to share the feedback by the through the chat feature of Zoom, which will be collated and presented by our coordinator Shashiji once the talk is over. Without wasting much time, I will set off the event by introducing our president, Ms. Naina Desai. Ms. Desai is our newly elected president. She lives in Greater DC area, and she has volunteered, served, and headed multiple Indian communities for more than 12 years. She has also served as president of Gujarati Samaj in the DC. Naina ji.
Thank you, Rajivji. Namaste, everyone. I'm Naina Desai, President of NCIA Washington Chapter DC. On behalf of NCIA, I express my greetings to you all. We are happy that you all have joined to learn more about our new tax law. We have a wonderful presentation prepared by Mr. Balagan Armugasamy. I appreciate his valuable time for our community despite his busy tax season. I will assure you, you all will walk away today with some important information that you were never aware of. Please feel free to ask any question via chat. I truly appreciate his time for our community. Please give a big round of applause for Mr. Balagan. Thank you.
Thank you, Naina ji, for your kind words. Moving along, I would like to invite our coordinator, Mukundji, who will introduce our keynote speaker for today, Mr. Balagan. Mukundji is Vice President of NCIA and has been involved in NCIA ever since its inception, along with our chairman, Mr. Sunil Singh. He has been living in Maryland for over 30 years now and has a background in information technology. In the past, he has been president of IFCCC and FIA, National Capital Region, and is an active member of Marathi Kala Mandal of Washington, DC. Mukundji, over to you.
Thank you, Rajivji. Good afternoon, friends. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you my very good friend, Balagan Armugaswamy. Frankly speaking, he doesn't need an introduction in this area. Many of us know Balagan for a long time as he has been providing the financial services for the entire metro area for a very long time. He has also been supporting NCAIA and other social organizations for a long time. He has been practicing CPA in this area for over 25, 30 years. Balagan is originally from Chennai. He did his undergraduate in economics and then his post-graduation in industrial relations and industrial psychology. He obtained his law degree from Madras Law College. And for a change, he joined our Indian Army during the Chinese aggression on emergency ordnance. During that time, he was privileged to visit President Rajendra Prasad and also Jawaharlal Nehru in 1959 as special guest. After his Indian Army rotation, he worked for Central Bank of India for almost 20 years before migrating to US. After coming to US, he got his CPA license in 1994. Then as if all these degrees and education were not enough, he got his law degree from Baltimore Law School in 2017 to serve his clients better. He achieved AICPA accreditation as a federal auditor. He has 3 offices in Washington, D.C. He has actually 3 offices, 2 of them in US, right here in the Washington, D.C. metro area, and 1 in India. Besides this one, he is actively also involved in a lot of social work. He has started a college back in, I believe, somewhere close to Chennai, his hometown. And probably Balagan can give you a lot of other social activities to us. Please welcome Balagan. Thank you.
My last name is Shrivastav.
Rajuji? Okay.
Mhm.
Balagan, can you hear? No.
Are you muted, Mr.
Yeah.
Balagan?
Balagan,
Can't hear you.
Now you can hear you.
We
No.
can't hear you.
Balagan, we cannot hear you still.
Now we can.
No,
No. Balaganji. Balagan Swamiji, please unmute yourself.
He is unmuted, but there seems to be some problem with his
Oh, he is
mic.
unmuted?
He's
Okay.
unmuted.
Um,
There might be some problem with his mic or his
because
internet
earlier I
connection.
think we could listen to him.
Yes.
I heard him twice.
We can't listen you.
no.
Yeah, he realized that he.
Yeah, you are audible now. The voice is very feeble, but you were.
So I made him co-host as well if he wants, but we can't hear his voice.
Hold on, let me call him and tell him.
He is unmuted. He's not on mute, so he should be fine.
Unmute, yes. Can I go to?
Yes, Balagan, we can hear
Now
you.
we hear.
Yeah, well, all right. So before starting, we are all blessed to be in this country because the GDP, people know, is like a $21 trillion economic activity in this country. We are all there, and in that we are also practicing law. In the taxation, individual taxation alone brings to United States government $2.7 trillion, is almost equal to our Indian economy size. That is the greatness of the country. We are all part of it. So when we talk about a taxation, in India, we believe in taking money from rich to the poor. We rely on our government officials, that is called revenue department. In this country, taking money from rich to the poor, they rely on the tax practitioners like us. The licensed practitioners are easy. If anybody doing a wrong thing, they can hold the license and immediately the criminal liability is there. But in our country, it is not happening because of various other reasons. You guys may know what is the reason. We don't rely on the chartered accountant to transfer the money from rich to the poor. In this country, tax practitioners are being the pivotal situation that are taking money from the rich to the poor. So the success reaching to the people immediately. This Corona time, they are passing on the stimulus money. Almost everybody benefited. Everybody got the benefit without any evaporation of revenue. Able to get?
Rajuji, if you can mute everyone.
Yeah, please mute everyone.
No, namaste, say namaste.
Okay, ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So that is the kind of economy we are living in. I think $3.5 trillion of stimulus money is given to the people. That is almost our Indian economic size. How did they do that? How can do this one type of thing? People think people are borrowing, printing money and giving. It is not so. The economy is very strong, very strong. They collect the money. Taxation is very well. Mr. Sunil Singh knows how difficult is paying taxes. Mr. Agassi knows how difficult to pay taxes, but they are all paying. That's why no evaporation happening to the money. Money given as taxes is go to the government. The government is able to do. So that is the background on which what is the taxation you want to know from me. Please ask the question. I will answer the questions. Any particular thing where you want to find some kind of clarification.
Sure. I mean, I think until people are there, Balagan, can you help us? I mean, there are a lot of people here who are old people. I mean, I shouldn't say old, but not so young, like 50 plus or something. Help us to understand how we can save taxes by trying to move money from IRA to Roth IRA. What's the process for moving the money from IRA to Roth IRA, and what kind of taxes we can we'll have to pay on that one?
Basically, we have a difference from the Indian taxation and here. India, when you contribute to LIC, that is tax deductible. When you take the money from LIC, that is also not tax. But in this country, when you contribute for LIC, it is not tax deductible. But when you take the money from life insurance, that is not tax. That is a major difference from Indian system and our system. Do you understand that concept? We pay
Yes.
policy to life insurance, that
Uh-huh.
is tax deductible. India. When you pay life insurance in this country, that is not tax deductible. However, the maturity comes, you take the money, it is not included as a taxation. In India, so here also so. So that means nobody exempted from taxation. From birth to death, everybody has to pay taxes. If the baby born is having some asset coming from the grandfather's, some type of trust created, the baby has to pay taxes. If the baby is not until 18 years, the baby is getting the money, it will be taxed as the parents' tax rate will be, they will be taxed. So that's why the tax can never be exempted in this country. Every income you earn is subject to taxes. If the person not paying taxes, that means he's following the law, he's violating the law. That is the principle. So the age, like a 80 years person getting a pension, no tax exemption, he has to pay taxes. Then how to avoid? There is no avoidance of taxes. They can reduce the taxes by taking minimum distribution from the retirement. They pay minimum taxes, or they should not have any other income. They put all their asset in the trust account and get out of their personal account. They can reduce their tax liability. But taxation is there. They have to pay taxes. So many things that people do is they create a trust. The trust will pay taxes. Individually, that person will not tax it. The trust is the control of asset during the lifetime of the person. The will is the control of asset after the person's death. That's a major difference. So you want to control your asset while you are living, please create a trust. When the trust is created, the county government also look at part of that. They are looking at the operation. Are you running the trust real for the purpose you create a trust, or you are doing something else, violation of law? That's why the county is involved there, and the county government is looking at the administration of a trust. Trust is the control of asset during the lifetime as well as after the lifetime. When they talk about the trust, the dead man's hand come through the graveyard and controls that. That is the understanding of trust administration. And then cannot exceed more than 21 years. Before 21 years, the nexus of your asset created in the trust should pass on to the next generation. You cannot control after 21 years. This is some of the major interesting things for you to know.
Okay, Balagan, there is one thing. Not everybody can hear you well. So if there is something on your side to increase the volume or something, just do that. Or get the microphone close or something. That's it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
now
this is. Yes, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So now maybe people interested to know about trust, and Mr. Sunil Singh may be interested. You may be interested.
Yeah.
Knowingly, you are the people having a lot of assets in their hand.
Yes, we definitely, Sunil,
I need to know how to save the what's called capital gain tax also.
Capital gain tax, actually, the gain is always taxed. But if you are investing in a real estate meant land and the building, that can be, it cannot be avoided. It can be suspended for some more time. Instead of paying taxes, you can suspend that taxes to the later years by buying an alternative building or land by the 1031 exchange. You may be aware of that, right, Mr. Sunil Singh? 1031, Mr. Mukund Agassi may be
Yes.
aware of 1031. That means the settlement people will not give the capital gain in your hand. They keep the money with them until you identify another property. This gain will be used as a down payment for the new property. Thereby, you are suspending the capital gain for the next property or the new property. Until the new property is sold, you will not pay any capital gain. But you can also same thing do for the new property. By settlement people tell me don't give the second property, also don't give the capital and keep it, and until I identify the third property you can suspend that one. When you come to fourth property, probably maybe 80 years old, give to the children. They will carry the same way, go back and avoid taxes. This is exactly our people like Trump are doing that one, taking advantage. Yeah.
Mukund bhai, he has some
I think it's
problem.
frozen now.
And
Now
Mr.
Balagan,
Sun,
it's frozen a little bit, I think.
Yeah, some internet issues looks like.
Yeah. Let's give him, I think he's back probably, I think.
Can I ask the question?
yes.
Sir, one basic question. I'm looking to buy a property, means like my first property in US. In India, the concept is buying a house, you do some tax savings. Over in US, some say you end up in tax saving, but some say it is not really. It's always peaceful to be in a rented property. So there are two different concepts. So end of the year, are we really saving tax when we buy a property?
Yeah. In United States, yes. In all Western country, yes.
In India too, we do save the tax, right? Because we save 30% or 20%, we can get it deducted from our taxable income. But that is not the case, I think, or I am thinking, I could be wrong in the US. But if can you correct me, are we really saving tax, and how much would be approximately for a number, like saying for easy number 100K?
Okay. Yeah. 100K, you will be in the range of 15% tax rate on an average. Okay. That is the median rate, 15%. So in 100%, if you buy a property, your loan may be $80,000. And the loan, if you take an $80,000 loan, your repayment will be $1,500 to $2,000. I mean, $1,500 per month. On the 1,500, you'll be saving 15%. 1,500 times of 12, $18,000 you'll pay. On that, you apply 15%. Roughly, you will be saving $2,500 in taxes.
Okay, so there is some tax savings. So, okay, is it a wise choice to put money in Roth IRA or some kind of a regular investments, or buying a property is better? Which is a good choice?
Buying the property is better.
Okay.
Of course, you can make a balancing situation this way to that way. You can distribute that one equally both the places, buying a property and also investment. The cash investment in the form of buying the stock or putting in a retirement, all will be done in a balancing situation. We cannot just put all the eggs in one box.
Multiple baskets.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But in this country, buying the property is always very excellent situation because the government supports that operation. Up to $525,000 of your residential property exempted from capital gain. So it is definitely needed. Everybody has to buy a house immediately. The children are age like 23 years old and then making a money of $80,000. Please compel them to buy a property immediately. A lot of advantages are coming on that.
I missed this word. You said 500K.
Can I ask a question?
Have a tax.
Yeah,
capital.
525,000 if a joint, married filing joint, exempted from capital gain. If you live in the house at least 3 years out of 5 years scale.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And, okay.
And just a supplementary
I-
questions. That is the 525 is the federal thing. In Maryland and
Hello?
Virginia, do you get the same benefit
Yeah,
in Maryland?
definitely. It affects your AGI.
Okay.
So you are also getting benefit in state also.
Okay.
State also
Thank you.
get the benefit.
Balagan, I would like to know that 500,000 exemption on my principal residence, how many times I can take in within 2 years? Like my many friends who are doing that, they are selling their principal residence, living in that, and if their capital gain is 500,000, so how many times within how many years we can do? Again and again, I should live in my rental property and make it the principal residence. Please put some light on that.
Yeah, it is like a lifetime benefits given to you. So you need to live there by 5 years minimum. Then you sell, you get the benefit. Then go to the new house, again live there for 5 years and get the benefit. It should be a
2 years,
principle.
it is, I have to live 5 years. Someone was saying only 2 years.
No, then a proportionate it will be reduced.
Okay.
That's but you need to completely 5 years live karne ka jarat hai.
But how many times I can flip that in my
Any
life?
number of times you need to live there 5 years. That is the
No,
criteria.
5 years I live.
No,
But
no.
how many times on how many properties I can flip?
Any number of property you can go and live for 5 years, sell it, another 5 years live, and then go on, keep on going that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the criterion is that should be your primary home.
Yeah, that I know, principal residence. Thank you.
Rashidi, I have a question.
I have a hello.
Yes.
I have a
ahead.
question regarding the college savings plan.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, the college savings plans, what would you advise? Is it better to invest in 529 or is it better to go with Roth IRA for kids, or is it a custodial like UMCA accounts? What would you suggest, UMGA?
You know, to the preliminary answer to that, all the presidents standing in election put the agenda. If I come as a president, I'm going to eliminate all the borrowings by the children. That is coming again and again. The best thing is wait for somebody going to announce the college education going to be free. Any borrowings you had, all will be forgiven. That is coming like a $5 trillion. When they spend so much money in stimulus money, the $5 trillion is not a big thing for the United States government. So if you can borrow, maximum you borrow. Don't save money, give to the children. That is, it is a last priority. We don't recommend for 529 or Coverdale scheme. It's all very old. Now the presidents are coming. We will eliminate all the borrowings for educational borrowing. It is going to come. So that is the preliminary situation. Then you are asking me whether it is 529 is a low paying investment. It's Mukund Agassi is having a lot of 529, I think, right? You had? I don't remember now. I remember something like that. So
I have a question, Rashidi.
Yeah, it's not.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me, Balaganji?
Yeah, go ahead, sir. Guptaji.
I have a question on CP14. Notice CP14. What is that?
CP14. What is that related to?
Related to how taxpayer can balance filing his taxes every quarter. How that can be done.
Every quarterly basis, you are paying an estimated taxes?
Yeah, that's right.
Estimated taxes to be done. Otherwise, penalty and interest will be coming. Estimated. Sure. You think that income was not covered by any tax deduction, we must pay estimated taxes.
No, but estimated tax for a retiree is very difficult to figure out what they should do.
You need to pay 10% minimum. Any income you have, that is the minimum tax rate in this country, 10%. Put that income under 10% bracket. The IRS knows that you are diligently paying your taxes. If you are
so that has to be done each quarter.
Each quarterly basis, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Yes, Mr. Balgan, like similar question. This is Chain Singh. So like you are recommending now to put money in the 529 because I have kids and I have been putting money in 529.
Did not say don't put. It's not that beneficial. That
Okay.
beneficial. Rather, you can do some stock trading. Out of that, you earn some money, give to the children. But it is that some attraction is there for low level income people, but not high level income people. It's not going to be beneficial. Much benefit.
But Mr. Balagan, there is one other thing, as you are saying, that if my child is not going to school, then also what will be the consequences? We are putting money in 529, and as you said, many people say don't put the money because there are many other repercussions, you know?
Yeah. If we are not using the money for educational purpose, that will be taxed. The growth will be taxed. The growth. You put 10,000, after 10 years, it becomes 15,000, $5,000 growth is happening. Child is not in the college or is not gone to the college. That 5,000 will be taxed because if out of the 15,000, 10,000, you already paid taxes of 529 after tax situation. The growth will not be taxed. But if that not used for educational purpose, the growth is also be taxed. Federal government and state government both will pay taxes on that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sir, one more question on the same front. My dad is an investment consultant in LIC. So again, we're happy to say that I'm also from Chennai. And the thing is, my dad conveys me is, if I'm going to do some investment, it's better that you don't do it in US, better do it from India. The reason being, we have a better understanding of the infrastructure in India. Of course, in my case, I'm pretty new to this country, like 6-7 years. We do not know, and we also are not really clear whether we will stay in India or you go back to US. So we'll stay in US or we go back to India. When we invest something in LIC or something like that, we get a 6% or 7% rate of interest. And at the same time, in case we are continuing to live in India, we get that money transferred to here in case of some kind of eventuality. Wherein, if I invest something in US, we are not really sure how well the returns would be. So now, since we're talking about 529 plans, I'm just trying to relate it and throw some ideas to the crowd.
Okay. The investment in India, yes, it is going to be beneficial. But if certain emergency wanting that money to this country, there are a lot of restrictions are there. And you need to declare that income in the United States also. And the Indian income tax return should be the basis for creating a FBAR or foreign related income. We need to have a look at the Indian income tax return. So you are paying taxes there, and then you need to pay taxes here also. Any taxes paid in India will be given as a credit. That process is going on. That is one thing. The second thing, if you have an investment in this country, your credit worthiness increases in front of the lenders. The lenders know how much you have in this country as a savings. If you want to buy a house, primary home, a rental home, investment home, they are looking at your credit of the number of credit points what you have. More investment means your credit worthiness goes up. For that reason, if you are going to stay in this country, your children going to stay in this country, you need to build up some credit. That for that reason, you need to have an investment in this country. For that reason, you don't take all the money to India and invest there. Better to keep at least 75% of your investment in this country because you are going to live in this country for yourself and for the future.
But sir, what I'm trying to think in this way is, in case of investment, what I'm trying to convince the LIC, something like Jeevan Umang, people would have heard of it, that gives a 6% or 7% rate of interest, and which is tax free during the maturity. So there is no tax happening. So only thing is you're talking about bringing the money from there. That is the only hurdle. Wherein you're that 6% or 7% or 8%, I'm not really sure. That is never going to happen in US if I'm going to invest. So only hassle I'm seeing is bringing the money from there to here, and the money which will automatically getting credited to our individual accounts. According to my dad, he says if you have the bank account tied with whatever you're there, it will automatically gets credited. I'm just giving getting some another side of the advice. But anyway.
Okay, what about your fluctuation, foreign exchange fluctuation? That one you need to know, right? Foreign exchange rate fluctuates up and down.
Correct.
That factor you need to take into advantage. When I come to this country, the rate was $12 per dollar. I mean, 12 rupees per dollar. Now it is 72 rupees per dollar. Right? And
Correct.
the value of the property also is there. You buy a property, and now the hot sales is going on. People are selling in DC. People bought for, to my knowledge, people for $20,000. Now selling for $12 million. See, that much of generation of assets are happening in this country.
Got it, sir.
So-
Got it.
So quick clarification on this, like when you're taking away the property from India and moving to US, you end up paying only taxes in India, or you may end up paying any fees again in US?
Okay, the basis for that is Indian income tax report. They will generate a report for foreign people. So that one you bring here, you put the same thing, everything in a individual tax return, and then any taxes paid in India will be given as a credit in this country. Yeah, you will be assessed taxes for the capital gain happened in India, but any taxes paid in India and capital gain will be given as a credit in this country. Thereby, there will not be any double taxation.
So you mean like the capital gain tax in India rates are different than US? In that case, whatever the difference is there, you still end up paying in US?
Definitely, yes, sir. Yes.
What is the difference in capital gains to India to US?
You know, actually, the difference is not much to your benefit, but they have a floor. Under that, if you fall below the floor, you are not taxed. But in this country, the floor system is not working. Every dollar you earn is taxed in this country. In India, they have said up to 20 lakhs, you don't need to pay taxes, something like that. You are aware of that, a floor system? In India, we have, but in this country, every dollar you make as a capital gain subject to taxes. But basically, finally, you are getting benefit because the money goes to the children without hassle. If you don't in your lifetime do that, do you think our children will go and do all those things in Indian scenario? It's very difficult. They will not spend even 3 days to stay and do the job. So better to, in your lifetime, do all the necessary sale happening in India, bring the money, give to the children or invest here. That's the best thing if you are going to live in this country permanently.
Sir, one more question along the same lines. What if I'm not going to sell any property and I have the property in India and I'm going to earn as a rental income in India? Should we need to show the property what I'm holding, since of course in my case I'm living on an H1B or property?
The tax purpose, we are not looking at your immigration status. We are looking whether you are a tax person in the United States. If the tax person means, are you paying taxes, Social Security, Medicare taxes? You are a tax person in this country. We are not looking at H1B, F1, whatever, the way you are coming in. You need to declare that one. Yeah.
So I need to declare my international assets in my every year filing.
Definitely, yes.
Will that increase my tax bracket?
Possibly, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Rao, I think we can do is, let's see if there are any other questions and then we can do the follow-ups with this one, or we can send you the Balagan's number and you can have one-on-one, more detailed conversation about your case. But let's see if there are any more questions, and if there are none, then maybe we can come back to you. What do you think?
Mr. Balagan, I have a question just as Mukund Bhai is initiated that question that from for our regular IRA to Roth IRA. And my question for seniors, we seniors, that in the new tax law, what are implications that we should take standard? It will depend on the income to income, that I understand very well. That we should take standard exemptions or itemized, because some accountants are saying that now with the new tax law, it is better to take standard exemptions. Yeah. One thing I want to this thing, you will throw light. Yeah. And what are the main tax credits for seniors? Is there any favor or better things for seniors in the new tax laws for tax credits and deductions? Thank you.
Okay, seniors, they have not changed any tax situation for seniors. It is already existing situation if you are over 65 years. One more additional, exclusion is given that is existing for a long time. Otherwise, there is no benefit for seniors, and the seniors are needing money. Take the minimum distribution from your investment. If you take major deduction, major distribution, and you are subject to your tax rate also goes up, live within the limit and then take the minimum to reduce your tax liability of at the rate of 10%, 10 to 12%. Okay.
Thank you very much. And about Roth IRA,
Roth IRA,
regular IRA to Roth IRA, what are repercussions and what we should do or not do?
Okay. Roth is meant for the young people, for senior people. Roth is not going to give any additional benefit. So young people, yes, Roth accumulation of principal and the growth is tax-free when they reach the age of 65. For us, we are already in 65. There is no need to transfer to Roth for that matter. Keep it.
No, but age span is increased so much. So if we have any Roth IRA, we will get benefit. What is your view?
Yeah, it depends on your speculation. You speculate a particular Tesla stock is going to be doubled from now on. That time, yes, take it and transfer to Roth and put it in whatever the Roth is going to be managed by third-party people like a trustees. Are you able to manage that investment portfolio? No, right? Third parties do.
Own portfolio.
Yes.
And when you said that trustee, another question came in my mind. You are so wise and intelligent. Many people sell their irrevocable trust, and many people say that there is no need to trust because in both situations we have end up to the attorney. So what is your viewpoint for the we commoner people who are not very rich, that we should make only four documents, or we should go to take that route of revocable trust?
The trust means the government's interest is definitely there. You cannot avoid. That is the system in which we are living. That it is built in that such a way. Trust means you need to report to the county people. They must look at your tax return. They must oversee your administration. Then the lawyer's presence definitely there. Lawyers cannot be avoided if you have a trust. So we cannot avoid that one because you need to report to the government. The lawyers having some type of connection with the county people. So they are part of the whole trust system. You cannot avoid that one. Yes. But if you want to avoid trust, you go for will and keep an administrator, a good man as a.
So will, in your viewpoint, will and other 3-4 documents like power of attorney and my living will, those are enough for us.
Yeah, will, not power of attorney, will.
Okay.
And appoint the correct person as administrator. That administrator may be quite a young person. They may, for his lifetime, maybe another 30 years, he will be able to administer. So
my biggest question is in the will that we all trust our children. They are very nice at present, but when we get incapacitated or helpless, that time, how we can control our situation in the will?
Yeah, you need to put some administrator, right person as an administrator. When the children get married, their spouses are coming from different background. We don't know. So as you said, that may destroy your intent. You intend this property to be kept for my grandchildren or after that and next generation. That intent may be disturbed if the spouses are coming in between. That is a possibility. You want to protect that one from creating a trust, then you need to put an administrator, a correct person. In that case, you can look at even the bank as administrator or lawyers as administrator or your own close relatives, quite young people and very intelligent and then very educated people, you know, put as an administrator to protect your intent after our lifetime. That
so I have to pay bank, certainly. I understand their valuable time. That fee, and that fee will be in very hefty fee. Correct. Or that.
That is correct. That is correct. Otherwise, you need to put some administrator
Or I
within
can
the
put a
family.
rider. I can put a rider also.
Yes,
Just like you-
rider. Yeah, that provision is also available. But a
Yeah.
rider, all that means one has to go to the lawyer again. Lawyer is involved. As you know, lawyers are making a lot of money in this process.
Because I am struggling to, I have my old will, but that question just like, see, that is Raymond's people, you know, everyone thinks that they raise a very good children. Oh, they are angels. They are angels, but when the real time comes, that we get tested, you know.
Okay. It is again, life is full of speculative and unforeseeable situations are appearing. But you could foresee this all the, as you said, you already foreseen some possibility. You can take it a counter action, put some administrator, proper administrator. You can appoint 3-4 administrators, at least 2-3 administrators. In the event this is happening, the second person can come. This happening, third person come. Those people again, we need the beneficiary has to go to the court to enforce the intent of your return and the will. That's definitely, that is the system we are all living in.
Or we can do like that, that my heirs to whom I give every authority, that one time they can have only 10,000 withdraw money, or if they will withdraw more money from my accounts, they have to go to this administrator, or I should not be put in a cheap senior home, you know. Can we put all these things in the rider?
Definitely, yes. That the will is the document to enforce your intent, what you have in your mind. That is the main thing in the will. You are telling my intent, this one, this should be enforced. Yes, that definitely that should be enforced. The person should be strong to protect you, will be the administrator. The correct administrator is there. That person take care of your intent and also your wish and will for your lifetime and also later. Normally that type of strong person should be the lawyers. And again, we have to go to the lawyer.
Thank you very
Yeah, Mr. Balgan, one more question for so like I heard like for like 401k money, can it be like invested in the real estate? Like I heard like, there is somewhere like you can transfer the money from 401k to somewhere and then you can use for the real estate. So,
Yes, sir. That should be reported to IRS. IRS should know you are doing that. There is a form number there. I don't remember the form, but that can be done. The best person to help you is your investment company. This portfolio is meant for my retirement. So that means they have to report to IRS to make them know that they should not be any growth should not be taxed now and then. It will be only taxed when you take the money later after your retirement. Yes.
okay, thank you. I know one follow-up question on same way. So like if you are planning to invest something in the real estate, like for the rental property, so what do you suggest? Like is better to buy like old houses, or also like, if they're doing some construction for new houses, so if you buy some new house for rental purpose, is it make any difference from tax point of view, or like from tax point of view, it does not matter to buy old or new house?
Buying, you are spending money, you are increasing the cost basis of that property. You bought for $100,000 a dilapidated condition, and then you spend $200,000 on the top of it. The cost will be 100 plus 200 will be $300,000. So definitely you can protect the asset under 300,000. It's not 100,000. It's 300,000. So if you are able to spend the money to investment purpose, it is in a primary location in a downtown area, then definitely you can do that, sir. Yes.
I have a question on this. When you say you can transfer your 401k to the real estate for the real estate investment, is it the 100% of the amount, or is there a limitation how much you can?
No limitation, any amount. Only thing is it should be informed. Information, tax filing should be there with the IRS. It inform them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I think one minute. I think Ms. Meenakshi has a question, I think. Am I right? I see
Yeah.
the hands. Yes.
Yeah, I raised it, but I lowered it, assuming that there is no time. So I'll just ask. Thank you. So, Bala sir, two questions actually. The first one is regarding the will that we were just discussing, right? So we have kids here, and we have just come like few years back only to US. So apart from our assets that we are slowly building here, what about the kids' custody and all in case of unforeseen incidents? So do we also mention those things in the will, or is there any other thing we need to
Yes,
take care?
if the children with the needing custodial parents, if you don't write in the will, if the both the parents are no more in the world, then the
Yeah.
county will come in. The court will appoint a custodial parent for that child. To avoid
Oh.
that, you need to mention in the event of something happening to the parent, we want this person to be the custodial parent for the betterment of my children. You need to identify that in the will. Yes.
Okay, and they could be here. They need anyone here in the US or anyone back home, like in India, is also okay?
Yes, you can appoint anybody back home, but the problem is who is going to control that person if is that person doing something wrong? It's not within the court system jurisdiction of the United States government. Then you need to
Yeah.
identify the local jurisdiction in India as a
Yeah.
jurisdiction to control that person. So you need to
Okay.
identify everything, put everything black and white in the will. Then we
Yeah.
can go to any court in the world, then enforce that thing, because this is the will of the testator. During his lifetime, he wrote that the testator wrote that one, that should be enforced. Yes, he can get the enforcement from the court system where that person belongs to.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Another question was, like when we came here, we were not sure like how long we are going to stay. So all our investments are mostly tied up in India, including property, which is on rental, plus some mutual funds and stock investments. So now that we have some visibility that we may live here longer than what we expected initially. So what is the suggestion? Like, should we close all the existing mutual funds and sell off the stocks? And what about the properties? Because we have some rental income coming. So taxation here is a big issue to collate all that information. Specifically for mutual funds, we are really struggling, because they give so much of information regarding calculations. So what is the suggestion to consolidate that investment in India, basically?
That is entirely your decision. Nobody can compel you. Looking at all the scenario available, take
Yeah.
a balancing situation, right and left,
Yeah.
which is better, how supported by you, by your relatives. They're all very honorable people, then leave the property there. If we are suspecting their honorability, bring the money here and put it here. Everybody going through the process, not only you, everybody.
Yeah, I
is
understand. I understand that, sir, but actually I don't know what to decide. Like, should we actually have, like, in that case, see, the property is usually shared between me and my husband. We have bought those properties with our Indian earnings. So
Yes.
in that case, is it advisable to gift that property to somebody in India
Why
if
do
they
you
are
want to gift?
trusted,
Because
or
that is the property belongs to. Why do you want to gift them? No.
no? Then what is the best way to manage it? That's what I just wanted to know.
Managing is give it to some relative who is a reliable person, or put a manager, appoint a manager and
Yeah.
visit that place every year and find and look at the accounting. I think some of the
Yeah.
banks in India also do some management for you. They collect some fees and to manage your property. Open a bank account separately only for collecting the rent for that.
Yeah.
And put an administrator manager. That's the only way you can protect the land. Okay.
Okay. So, sir, in that case, the income we earn and as the rental income in India, that needs to be shown here in the while filing the taxes, right?
Yes, that is correct. But if you are showing the Indian tax return, that is
Yeah.
sufficient for you. You don't need to separately show income and expenses and all that stuff. Schedule E as we do here. You just show that net income after all expenses reported in the Indian income tax authorities. They know this is rental income. Net rental income after all expenses. That is the only one figure needed for us to incorporate in the other income area in the tax return.
Okay.
Foreign earned other income. Just show
Yeah.
it and pay taxes. And any taxes paid in form number 1116, taxes paid in India will be given as a credit in this country. That very simple way of doing that one. Okay.
Okay. So the clear way is to just pay in India whatever is due in India and just show the returns here and accommodate it in the tax, right?
Correct,
Nothing to pay here, basically.
No,
All right.
no. Just
Yeah.
one entry is sufficient. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Got it, sir. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you.
So this is Venkat, and the follow-up question to the previous lady asked. See, if the rental income being consumed by the family members for family maintenance or assistance, so do we still need to show that as an income, or?
Yes, if you have a property that is valuable, the economic value is there, The economic value is you are giving free to parents and parents to live free. But the law says you need to declare a deemed rent for that property. Deemed rent. So you need to collect a deemed rent. If your property value about certain about 50 lakhs, you may be getting at least 10,000 Indian rupees at 15,000 Indian rupees as a rent. You need to declare that one, but any expenses associated with that, that subtract from that income and then put the net income available as a taxable income in the United States. It should be done. That is the correct way of doing that. There is no such thing as free given to parents. This law doesn't recognize that one. Probably in India, we may get a co-partner income, joint family type of thing, maybe in India, but not here. Here, the rent you are giving free to, please allow a deemed rent to be reported here. So that's the
Thank
law.
you so much for the
Right,
answers.
yes.
I think, let me, Krupabhai has a question. Krupabhai, please.
Namaskar, Balagan sir.
Namaskar,
Thank you.
sir. Namaskar.
Thank you for joining the hands with us and helping the Indian community people here. The question is, it comes from many people to us that whatever 401k people are having, what is the right age to move out of 401k to IRA or Roth IRA? Or is it necessary to move to IRA or Roth IRA?
This is like a practical question. There is no law about that. The practical question, maximum postpone drawing from Social Security Medicare, maximum postpone. So the 72 years may be the right age. If you are very healthy, push to 72 years, 72 and a half, and then take the benefit. That will be, the sum will be large sum is coming. If you take at 65, the sum will be low sum. If you take it later years, it will be large sum coming. That time maybe you definitely need more income to pull on because you are not able to move from one place to another place type of thing coming. Take it after 72 and a half years.
Okay, and when people say that if what is safe when you keep in your 401k account in the shares versus the IRA kind of situation.
What is the question, sir?
So somebody wants to keep in 401k in the share. Someone says that it's safe to move to IRA or Roth IRA. So, what in your opinion, what is the safe way?
All right. The 401k is somebody keeps the money for you. The trustees coming, banks are coming. IRA means you keep the money. You don't need to ask anybody to withdraw the money. That is the best thing is transfer to IRA. That provision is given by President Clinton. Before that, that was not there. And he made the law. You at the time of retiring, you have the option to transfer 401k to IRA. IRA means you keep the money. 401k and somebody else keep it. Roth IRA also, I think you are keeping the money. Same thing, yes.
Thank you.
Balagan, I have a follow-up question on what Krupabhai said. Let's say you have some money in your IRA account at the time of your death. So it's going to go to your children, I think, as a part. So how much time do they have to withdraw the money or transfer the money from your IRA to either their IRA or to their non-IRA account? How much time do they have? Is it 1 year, 5 years or something?
Yeah, they transfer the money to your children from your retirement account. There is no time limit. You already you already completed the waiting period. Maybe you are keeping 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. But when you give the money to the children, it is for them to keep minimum of 1 year to avoid major taxation. You pass on to them and they have to keep a certain number of years, like 1 year minimum, to avoid 27% of the short-term capital gain type of thing. So you can reduce the tax liability by keeping it 1 year, then withdraw the money and spend the money. So waiting period is 1 year for the recipient.
Okay, and that will be added to their normal income at that time.
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Balagan, will you please throw some light at 72 and a half? If we don't withdraw our RMD, generally people say we should withdraw 4%.
Yes.
What are the tax consequences if I forget to withdraw. This year it was exempted in 2020. And if I take my RMD 4% and can I make a Roth IRA? No.
Yeah.
Please
Roth-
throw some light on that.
Once you take to Roth IRA, the RMD is gone. Then you can take the money whenever you want the money. That is the best thing to do to avoid the penalty, all that type of situation. Taking to regular IRA, keep the money and take the money whatever you need. Then the RMD situation is not there. Take the lump sum. Yeah.
So 4% we should take every year from RMD, or
Yes. If the provision available to transfer to IRA, please do that. Avoid taxation. And
if I forget to take my RMD, how much taxes I have to pay?
Yeah,
for my
that's additionally,
forgetfulness?
yeah, the 4%, right? Additionally,
Yeah.
that is implemented. Unfortunately, law has no emotion. They go strictly follow the law. They do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Complete.
I'm just wondering, Shashiji, do you have any questions or something which you have received which are not answered or something still?
Hi, I have a question. If no one has any other question, I have one dumb question. Question is, question is, I have bought a home at 500K. If I sell the home for 800K after 5 years, so on this 300K profit, how much is the tax I need to pay to the country?
It was your residential home, you don't pay taxes. Up to 525 excluded.
No, suppose after 5 years, I left the country, I'm going back and I am selling the home for a profit of 300K. So on that, on the 6th year, how much I need to pay on that 300K profit to the government?
Is excluded, right? Up to 500,000. Benefit is excluded. You're not paying any taxes on that.
Oh, so for 300 means 300,000 profit I can make and I can go back.
Correct.
Without
Yes.
paying any taxes.
No, yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
अब इंडिया
Good.
ज्यादातर लेके भाग जाओ, क्या करना है?
Yeah, India, you have to pay taxes.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
So
There I will
Balaganji,
pay.
so Balaganji, on the same note, just please correct me if I'm not wrong. So you are saying the profit can be up to 525. It's not the initial investment that has to be of 525. Like I can buy a 800K house and live there, and after 5 years can sell it for 1300 and pocket the 500 profit on that residential home.
Yeah, you bought for $300,000. That is what the cost you have it.
No, I bought for 800,000.
No. Oh, okay, the 800 is the basis for you.
Yes.
You can go up to 1,300,000 without paying any taxes. Yeah.
Okay. And that's the case for a single person or a couple?
This is only family, joint filing. If you are single person, half of that, 175 something, but how much? 275?
No, I think it's 275, 250, 262 probably.
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Last question. We are not in that income range or our heirs, because the federal tax exemptions for heirs are, the limit is increased, and even as well as the state. But people like Sunil Bhai, they say that sometime in the past, I read that big estates are not able to pay taxes, and then heir has to sometime leave even the estate, but there is a catch that we can make, Sunil, a big insurance policy. What is that specific insurance policy to save my heirs, or Sunil Bhai's heirs, if they are not, they are vagabond, they don't want, but the estate is big, how we can save for them?
Okay, you're talking about spendthrift control?
Yeah.
That spendthrift, that is only be achieved through the trust mechanism. You need to put the trustee in place and then tell them this person should be given, my second son or third son maximum $10,000 per month.
No, but people are saying that I can make a insurance policy in my lifetime.
No,
No?
insurance policy, it is not a moral principle now.
Oh,
Ethical
okay.
and moral
Because
principle.
in many financial seminars, I heard that thing in the past, that make a insurance policy to save your heirs, if they are not able to pay for the taxes of the estate.
Oh, that one is again part of the tax administration. Then you need to satisfy the insurance company. The tax administration is properly done through a bank or a financial institution. In case the financial institution itself fails, my asset is gone. Thereby, they will come to protect your asset, not to individual people's behavior. They don't have a control over that.
But is there any provision that my heirs are saying that, okay, let us sell the properties, or we should get the bank accounts and then we will pay the taxes? The government exempt them that way or no?
No, that cannot be done. Yes, that means you are going against the law, right?
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Yes.
All the best. You did a very good job.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
Sir, this is Anju again, following on that residential property sale question. So one has to live entirely 5 years there to get that benefit?
Full benefit, to get the full benefit.
Okay, and if you live there only for 2 or 3 years,
Yeah,
then...
it will proportionately reduce the benefit.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
So taking back that money, profit, whatever it is, 500 to the country, how much do I need to pay in India, the taxation for that?
That is, you need to satisfy Indian law. They have a flooring system. Up to 15 lakhs, you don't pay taxes. Anything over 15 lakhs, they will assess taxes. You need to talk to the Indian system. That one.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
I think foreign earned income is exempted, right? Totally, I remember. Sunil ji, any income you're taking from in this country, foreign earned income in dollars is exempted.
Thank you very, very much, Balagan Sahab, and all our executive team of NCAI, Mukund Bhai, Sachi ji, Sunil Bhai, Nana Behan, and Rajiv Kamal. A great job you all have done. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
I have few questions here in the chat.
Yep. So that's what I was going to ask. So let me introduce Shashi ji. Shashi ji, our coordinator for this event, and she's journalist, producer of Manoranjan TV, and very well connected with community and public affairs. And she's going to facilitate the question answer round, which has been collected from the audience through the tax chat box. So Shashi ji, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Rajiv. Namaskar, everyone. Here is a question from Nana ji. It says, what would you suggest if I retired at the age of 62 and a half? May I withdraw all money from 401k? What percentage tax I will pay? May I buy a house for my children from my 401k money? So that's what her question is.
That is a question to me or somebody else?
This is from Nana ji.
No, to me, right?
Yes, to you.
Yeah. Whatever the bracket you are in, it is an ordinary income. It's not a special income. Any money you withdraw from your 401k subjected to ordinary income standard tax rate. Normally, that particular person will pay about 12 to 15%. I'm approximating. It depends on other income, other kind of income is having in the family. So it is roughly about 12% rate of interest will be paid.
I think that's the only question I received here. So.
But is it okay if I buy a house for my children from that money?
Oh, again, that question I haven't answered earlier. You have a capital gain avoidance situation like 1031 exchange. That one we need to go to the settlement people. You need to sell the property, take the capital gain, put it in the new house and give to the children. That is possible, but you need to work with your settlement people to avoid taxes for the capital gain to buy the property. But you need to sell one property in order to buy another property. You cannot withdraw money from a 401k. 401k allows only maximum $10,000 avoidance of taxes, penalty, not taxes. Taxes for every dollar you need to pay taxes. But if you are investing in a new home, they will allow $10,000 from assessment of penalty. If you are 60 years old, the assessment of penalty is not there. Then only the tax implications are there. You need to pay taxes for the whole amount. You cannot have it tax-free. Yeah. You need to pay taxes. You need to
Mr. Balagan, in this question, I have another question that if I'm living in my primary home, my question is, I'm not in 401k, can I take two-way benefit that I can take 5 years living in my primary home, 500,000 exemption. And if I buy house for my child, then they don't have to show their income. They can get it straight like that.
Okay, the 500,000 is your money.
Yeah, that I know. But I'm saying just like for Nana, you told Nana Ben that okay, she can take the house, she will sell, and then she can buy. But our children can get free candy. They don't have to show to the government from where that money came.
Yes, but between parents and children, you have a lifetime exclusion of gift taxes available.
Okay.
That is again another, that is about $1 million something lifetime. What's a lifetime? Maximum for lifetime you can do that.
So one question comes here again. Sorry, my questions. That if I am depleting my assets, I am giving 40,000, 10,000 each child and grandchild every year, then I am out of that thing. I can take only here or there.
You are exempted. You are giving to the children. Taxable implication not there. The
Okay.
only thing is they take the money. They have to keep for some time to satisfy the law. They cannot take the money and spend the money immediately. That is the gift limitations are there between parents and children. There is no tax implications.
No, my question is here that gift to children and grandchildren to make slowly my estate down, for the tax purposes. So if I am gifting them 40,000 every year, is that has any limit?
Yes, 40,000 excluded, definitely.
No, 40,000 is yearly, but lifelong. Suppose if I am an old lady living up to 90 years.
Okay. You are paying taxes on the 40,000 or not?
Yeah, I will pay.
Yeah, if you have paid, that is tax-free by then.
Yeah.
Profit, you need to keep
But
the money.
I can make their estate, their assets increase every year. On that, there is no limit. The gift I am
until they sell that, until they liquidate that property, they don't have a tax.
No, I'm not saying the property. I have two children and 2 grandchildren. Every year, slowly, I want to siphon my estate and giving them 10,000 I'm authorized to give them, correct? Each one of them. So 40,000 from my estate, I am siphoning every year. So how long I can siphon that money, 40,000?
So long you earn money. So long you earn money.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. You did. The last part was very important. There is no limit. There is no cap on that.
Correct. Yes, because you already paid taxes on that.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much. It was a very good question. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing. I mean, yes, even though we might end the session, Balagan is our local person. He lives in the Washington, D.C. area. He has 2 offices. You can always reach out to him via phone or email or in person, and he will be more than happy to help you. I mean, I think Balagan can give his number and address, but I know the easiest way, Google his name and you get all his telephone numbers. Just Google Balagan and you will get everything.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Mukund bhai. Thank you. I will go to that route.
Yeah, it's a pleasure talking to you all. It's all seniors.
Balaganji, let's take one last question before closing the meeting. Can we?
There's one more question I have here. It is sent by Pratik Ji. It says, my father got his green card last year and he's living with me just before the pandemic started. He has been paying taxes in India. He has no income in US. How shall he file his taxes here with no income?
Okay. All right. It's a very interesting question. Every family going through the process. Without income, you cannot even cover health insurance in this country. So we need to create an income. If the father comes to live with the children have got grandchildren for the father. I mean, grandfather, right? The children having children, the grandfather and grandmother living in that house, taking care of their interest. They are teaching our religion. They're teaching local language. They're dressing them up and clean the house and cooking. That is the value provided by the grandparents. So we tell the children, declare a salary for them. You don't need to give a salary in money wise, but to make a value and pay Social Security Medicare by creating a W-2 or 1099. That creates a basis for them to file their local income tax return, and they will get a stimulus check also. They got so many grandparents got stimulus check last year by filing a tax return separately as an individual person. They got $3,000 last year. That is the best thing. If the children bring in their father and parents to this country, create a value because they are staying in the house that is about $500 worth per month. Two people are living $1,000. They are cooking for you. They are teaching children local language. They are teaching mathematics to them. Another $1,000. So normally I say $1,500, $2,000. You declare a value and then pay taxes, Social Security, Medicare every quarterly basis. End of the year, go to the CPA, create a W-2. I provided the value for them throughout the year that is equal to $15,000. Then ask them to file the tax return. They may get some EIC, earned income credit also. Also, they create a basis in this country to get a health insurance. There's so many benefits that are coming from there. That is a good question, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. This is Mr. Balagan, you told this thing I never read and I never heard. This is very amazing.
Yeah.
That
Many
how we
parents,
do.
many Indian parents are being helped this way. Yes.
Okay.
I never read. Thank you very much.
Will this be applicable for people on H-1B as they would eligible to stay for 6 months, most likely in a year?
What is the question? I did not follow.
Question is, will this be applicable for people in H-1B as they would eligible to stay for 6 months, most likely in a year? That's the question.
H-1B, they have to live 6 months minimum in order to
Yes.
file the tax return. Yes.
No, sir. The question
will
is
this
this.
be applicable?
I have
no,
a question, please.
You need to
so what
reframe
I'm
the
trying
question.
to
How I go to just to get out of here? No, I have.
They should have work permit. Work permit.
Yeah, work permit means they are earning money.
Yeah, without work permit, they cannot do anything.
Yeah.
I parked my car, then now they're saying that.
Sir, the question is maybe they are visitors, and while visiting USA, they are providing that value to the
How
family.
those
So
guys
can
are-
they
No,
file
they
that?
cannot do that. They cannot do that.
Up and go see the, go straight ahead. Yeah. And then you'll wind around. Okay.
Okay, there's one more question. It says,
I
how
have
can we
question,
invest
Balagan.
Yes.
You told that every quarter one has to file the taxes at the minimum 10%.
Yes.
If they don't, what kind of penalties IRS imposing?
The IRS imposing 10% of the tax owed at the end of the year.
Right.
That's penalty.
Okay.
And plus 5% they're talking about failure to pay in properly taxes. That are two kinds of penalties come, plus interest also coming. Three kinds of additional burden is created on the taxpayer. Three kinds. Failure to pay penalty, failure to pay properly every quarter, and then interest involved in the payment. Any interest involved, that also they're assessed and then collect taxes from there.
So just question is that when a person is retired, he does not get any income from any source, how he can deposit 10%, whatever he is expecting to be assessed income every quarter? how can he deposit to IRS?
No, only we are talking people have income. If you don't have income, you need to go to the social services administration at the county level. They give food stamp to them, food stamp.
Okay, okay. Young King, thank you.
Okay, there is a question here. Mr. Devinder, he says, after my death, my children will inherit my house. Will they have to pay tax?
No. Inheritance has no taxation.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
exempted by estate taxes. That is eliminated in this country.
Okay, then there is another question. How we can invest our 401k in real estate? From
Yeah,
Mr.
that
Shiv?
we already told them. There's a special form to be created. Okay.
So let's not repeat the questions that he has already answered. That's fine. They can watch the recording. So since we are at the top of the hour, please let me allow to close this meeting. And for that, I would like to invite our immediate president, Haji, to offer a vote of thanks. Mr. Kripa Singh is immediate past president of NCIA, and he has been serving the Indian community in the DC area for past 17 years. In past, he has also served as a president of ICCC. Mr. Kripa Singh.
Namaskar, everybody.
Namaskar.
And first, I would like to salute Mr. Balagan for all his support to the Indian community and his energy and patience for answering in so calm way all the questions without any frustration. So, and he never said, even with any function, any organization in this area has gone for the help, he is always ready to help the organization financially or any suggestions or intellectually. So thank you, Balagan Sahab, for all your help to the community and to our organization and CIA. And I would like also to thank our President Naina Desai, Chairman Sunil Singh, and a special thanks to our MC Rajiv Kamal. Thank you very much, Rajiv, for all your great work. Our coordinator, Sasiji, and Mukunda Gaseji, all the other members who is always ready for any events to coordinate and talk to the people. So thank you, everybody, for great teamwork and great event. So Balagan Sahab, expect some of the calls or emails from our people or our audience for follow-up questions, and we always just appreciate your help. Thank you very much.
Anytime. Namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you, all of you.
Thank
you. Everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Balagan, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
बहुत पसंद पहले पड़ा नहीं